All right, guys. This is a major news alert. A major news alert. A major news alert. Get ready, guys. We have some major breaking news to share with you. Make sure you share this far and wide. Get it out there on all your social media. This is a very important, very crucial update, giving you a heads up on what's about to hit the fan. We're about to see some big time hitting the fan here any moment, okay? We're going to give you guys the 911, the 411 here in just a few minutes. Just give me a couple minutes here. I'm setting the stage here for the conversation. There's a lot of information we're going to go through, so stay tuned. And make sure you share. This is so important. Get that word out. All right, guys, what's happening? Robert here again. We have some major breaking news. This is huge, guys. We are about to see chaos break out in the Middle East. I think that we're about to hit Iran, the U.S., and Israel are on the move right now, right at this moment. I don't know why I have so many mosquitoes here. I'm just looking at these mosquitoes. Hold on. I'm putting on some of the spray. The other day I got eaten up by mosquitoes for some reason. I don't know why. They're just all of a sudden out. Okay, so what's happening is the F-16s are flying. We're getting a lot of intel from behind the scenes, people that are connected with people on the ground in the Middle East, a number of different accounts that we follow that are very accurate in their detailing of information in real time, intel. It's happening right now. There's been issued reports, even on Reuters now, is confirming that bases in Bahrain, Qatar, and let's get into all the news here. Let's just look at all this really quickly here. All right, honey, I'm gonna share that feed, so make sure you only post there. That feed is coming up. All right, so let's go ahead and get into that feed there. And I'm going to try to put it together. There's other channels. There might be like people like Amir, who's pretty much Mossad, Intel, masquerading as Christian channel. He's probably going to tell you stuff, but we're going to give you the perspective, I believe, that is the correct way to view what's happening, not only in the Middle East, but here in the United States and how it's all connected. These dots are all being connected right here at Blazing Press channel like no other channel. If anybody follows, has been following us for any length of time, you know that we give you guys a perspective that you're not going to find anywhere else. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Get connected to our member list, because we do have some breaking things that we share there as well to prepare our base for the main meetings and the main messages. Okay, this is very important. It's also a great way to keep our channel on the air, because we definitely need you guys behind what we're doing. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go right to our Telegram page where we chronicle everything. If you're not following us on Telegram, you need to follow us on Telegram. Telegram is the place you're going to want to be. All right. Get that out of the way there. Okay. So what's happening now is we have travel advisories in Bahrain, Qatar. They're evacuating embassies. They're evacuating every non-essential family members of workers and staff in the Middle East. The whole of the Middle East is being evacuated right now. There is about to be a major assault and probably attack on Iran. And I think there could be nukes involved. I don't know if it's going to either be these huge, massive bunker busters. We're talking about the biggest conventional bombs that can be used. I believe it's a coordinated effort. I know that Trump's doing this in preparation and to circumvent the bad press that is ultimately coming because of all these protests. We're talking about 1,500 protests that are now fixing to happen all over the country. This is going to preempt that. This is going to be shock and awe. This is going to cause everybody to lose their collective minds when they see what's going down in the Middle East. What is happening right now is there is a huge movement of planes, trains, and automobiles. It's happening all over the Middle East right now. Now, I just said that this is trains, planes, and automobiles, but It says Amir says Israel's days before striking Iran. No, they're not days. The attack is imminent. Okay, it's about to happen. Trump approved the troop shift in the Middle East. Western intelligence officials warn the Iranians are taking advantage of the nuclear talks to make moves. So this is all talk about leading up to where we are right now. The intel that's now coming out is that things are moving very quickly in the Middle East. This was a setup for this precipitation, and it may be disinformation is coming out as well, because in the midst of war, there's always disinformation. So just be aware. Right now, Amir's talking about how he's hearing all kinds of F-16s in his background. Well, this is happening at all different facilities in the Middle East of military significance for the U.S. They're all moving right now. It says U.S. Secretary Hegseth says there are plenty of indications that Iran is moving towards something that looks like a nuclear weapon. Here's what just went down, and it's very interesting. This is a UK TMO, which is UK Maritime. This is just all information that verifies what we're about to tell you. So just look at this very carefully first, and then look at the big picture here. So it says the UK MTO has been made aware of increased tensions. This just came out at 12 UTC time today within the region, which could lead to an escalation of military activity. This is all here right off the coast of Oman, or of Yemen, and I believe Iran, the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, so this strait is very vital for the movement of oil and shipping, and I know that it's already been curtailed to a large extent because of all the attacks, but right now they're saying this is very, very dangerous, that we can't even use this area here. A lot of tankers that still were being shuttled with escorts of military escorts are probably not even going to be going through now. So it says this region could lead to an escalation of military activity, having a direct impact on mariners. Vessels are advised to transit the Arabian Gulf, to transit the Gulf of Oman and the Strait of Hormuz with caution, and are to report incidents or suspicious activity to UKMTO Law BMP. So the UK Maritime Trade issued a very rare warning about rising tensions in the Gulf, Strait of Hormuz, and Gulf of Oman, citing potential military escalation that could directly affect shipping. The U.S. Embassy in Iraq is prepping for an ordered evacuation due to security threats. This is just now happening. The State Department is pulling non-essential staff and families from Bahrain and Kuwait. The U.S. military dependents in Bahrain have been cleared for temporary departure. None of these moves came from Fleet Forces Command, meaning this likely came from the top, possibly the White House. Something serious is unfolding. And Amir, I don't think Amir realizes what's really happening at this point. He's just talking about all the military movements and everything that's happening. But he's definitely becoming aware from the Israeli side that something is afoot. Naval Forces Command in Bahrain, hosting the U.S. Fifth Fleet, have been placed on high alert, with families, U.S. service members being told to prepare for possible evacuation. This is the U.S. Embassy. The U.S. has issued a security notice to all American vessels currently passing through the Persian Gulf. The U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, Iraq, is preparing to receive an evacuation order following Iran's threat to strike American targets in the Middle East in case of a wider conflict. This is Reuters. Treasury Secretary Bassett says that if the debt limit is not resolved, it could trigger a bigger financial crisis than 2008. Like I said, everything is converging right now. Everything that's happening right now in America, the unrest, the social unrest that's spreading to every major city in America, is about to have gasoline poured on it on the 14th because of all these planned protests. If something doesn't preempt this attention on our domestic issues, I think that they're looking for some big distraction. This might be the moment they press the trigger and really do go after Iran. This would be a political move on Trump's part to try to keep the attention away from what's happening on his special birthday parade. Now, maybe there is something more afoot with all this military hardware in America. Some people are saying that it's in preparation for martial law, not just in California, but in other parts of the country, D.C. in particular. So there might be something really big about to go down here. All U.S. tankers in the Persian Gulf have been put on alert. Suddenly, there's a lot of movement in the Middle East. The department or the U.S. Navy has reportedly placed its bases in Bahrain on a dependence. Okay, we already told you that. The U.S. Embassy in Iraq. Okay. Listen to this. So, ICE sources confirm with our source here that HSI special response teams will be deployed to blue cities in preparation for anticipated protests happening this weekend. These riots are not, quote, these riots are not going to deter us, one source involved in planning tells me. We are here doubling down, and enforcement operations are going to happen. If anything, we will be arresting more illegal aliens in these locations. So they're hoping that lots of illegal aliens will come to these protests in order to try in numbers to secure their safety, because they're not going to be just hiding as they're doing now in these raids in California, where people just don't come to work anymore. They're hiding out. They're literally going to try in safety in numbers, right? They're going to come out to try to seek to bring change and or unrest and destabilization in the midst of them being in preparation of them being deported. You're talking about tens of millions of people that are on the list to be deported. They're taking people to Guantanamo Bay on top of that. You're talking about people that probably aren't really majorly a military type threat going to military detention facilities and also being held in military camps, even as we speak here in the United States, not just in Guantanamo. But are they really getting a hold of the real violent people? Is this the way that they smoke them out? I don't know. There are major protests that have happened now all over in major cities like Chicago, New York, Atlanta, Georgia, Los Angeles, all up and down all up and down California, Fresno, what was it, San Francisco. Here in the next few days, I expect there to be a lot more cities that are going into this phase of heightened protest / verging on riots. Okay. So we're looking at an increase in tensions here right as all this stuff is happening in the Middle East. Developing, FAA is banning nearly all flights from more than 3,700 square miles of airspace around a chemical spill in MacArthur, Ohio. A chemical spill in MacArthur, Ohio, 3,700 square miles of airspace. So if you're anywhere near here in Columbus, Ohio, I guess there's been some kind of an oil spill or chemical spill. The TFR says only relief flights are authorized in the no-fly zone that spans 30 nautical miles radius up to 23,000 feet. 23,000 feet? Wow. So what kind of a chemical spill could actually be affecting the air travel up at that height? My goodness. So non-essential staff from across the Middle East are now being told to prepare for evacuation. Earlier today, Trump had said something that something will happen to Iran after Tehran failed to comply with Washington's demands regarding the nuclear deal. Now, one thing that I was looking at here is that let me get this other intel up here really quickly here. It says the Iranian president says we are not seeking nuclear weapons. Just a few minutes ago, we are not seeking nuclear weapons. So he knows that they're getting ready to do an operation inside of Iran, and Iran's already said that they're ready for it. They already said that they're going to target facilities that are secret nuclear facilities inside of Israel. So, or do they know? Do they really have the plans of where these? And are they able to actually attack these nuclear facilities that are inside of Israel? What about the operations that they may do against the big Satan? Because they call America the great Satan, right? They call Israel the little Satan, and they call America the great Satan. So do you think that maybe they would really want to attack the great Satan as well in their response and retaliation? Because obviously we're going to be a part of that. Now, there's a lot of illegal immigrants that came across the border that might have been from the Persian Gulf and Iran. Do you think that they're going to do anything when all this stuff hits the fan? Do you think that they're trained people that came across to do stuff? Do you think there's any trained groups? Because when you're talking about tens of millions of people that came across, and Trump is warning day in and day out that we've got crazy people that have, he's calling them terrorists that have come into our country. He's literally calling them terrorists, and he's blaming the Biden administration for this problem that this dumpster fire that he has inherited. It's not his problem. He's just trying to fix it. It's only going to get worse, and all of the blame is going to be on the shoulders of the previous administration. Now, many people are going to say, yeah, and I'm in agreement with that. I'm in agreement with that. That's true. We got to rally together behind the flag and behind our president and behind what's going on. Well, if you really look at the big picture and how this all unfolded from 2020 till now, and the psyop of Q and the stand down of Trump, and why Trump didn't actually forensically commandeer these voting machines to find the fraud and to get to the bottom of why, as he was president at the time, he was not looking competent. He had everybody and his brother against him, including people that he hired himself. But now all of a sudden he figured out how to run government. Now all of a sudden he's a genius of a statesman that knows how to run things. And now he's going to be ruling with an iron fist, right? He let riots and everything else and censorship and everything else go amok during the first administration. And now he's going to all of a sudden know what to do. Now he's going to rule with an iron fist. Now he's going to bring the military. Why didn't he do that in the first? Because he needed it to get this. He didn't want to oversee the problems that were coming. He would rather have that. And this is not just Trump. I think there's a grander scheme of things going on behind the scenes that are controlling things that put people in when they choose. And Trump was the man they wanted to groom for the complete and utter management of what is happening. Now, see, Trump is a master of managing bankruptcies. He's already gone through 6 or 7 bankruptcies in the last 20 years, right? He's never really had a business that was real successful. He's done 6 to 7, I think, bankruptcies. So what is America? It is in bankruptcy. It is in chapter, they're going through that whole process of trying to reboot the economy and reset it, right? Reset it with a new global currency, a new, influence over other nations, because we're going to leverage our failing dollar because it's being dumped by all these countries, de-dollarizing. They're de-dollarizing. Now, all of these dollars are coming back to. This is why gold and silver is skyrocketing right now. Silver price is going up. Gold price is going up. Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin really the place you want to park your money? Is that really where you want to put it? Because I want to tell you what, if you don't have your money outside of stocks, bonds, and dollars, you're going to instantly, suddenly, and it's going to, it's going to be, it's like catastrophically when something fails, that's what's going to happen. Like 2008, overnight, you're going to see your money's just going to go to nothing, zero. It's just going to fall off a cliff. Whether it's 401ks or whatever, everything's going to just collapse suddenly, like all this rubbish in the background. You're going to wake up one day and you're going to see this is everything that happened to the stock market overnight. And, and Trump's going to say, well, it's the Biden administration, all these terrorists that came in and did all this to our economy. They hacked our economy. They hacked our food distributors. They can't deliver food anymore to you. The whole infrastructure, the banking system has been hacked, or something has happened in Russia and the Middle East, and we've had bad actors that have sabotaged our ability to get oil, and now the gas prices have gone up, to $10 or $15 a gallon because we can't get gas in. Not only that, we can't truck it there because the trucking industry is falling apart because of all these different things that are happening all of a sudden simultaneously, like orchestration. And now we have all this unrest in every city, and we've got tanks on the street of America, and it's martial law because the whole world is on fire. And all you're going to be is fearful, and you're going to be just saying, please, someone save us. And Trump's going to be like, here I am to save the day. This was all orchestrated. I'm just trying to tell you, we saw this way in advance from 2020. This is the way it was going to happen. And we told you he would come in and he would take over and he would control things with an iron fist. He would come at the last minute from lawfare, from warfare, lawfare, and he would rise from the political dead. As it says in Scripture, he would receive a political and or judicial mortal head wound, and he would miraculously recover, and everyone would wonder, everyone would follow him. He would rise from the political dead, and he would take the reins of power. He was not, and he is again. This is what Scripture says: a little horn, a little trump that makes great boasts. This is what Scripture says: a little horn or a little trump. That's what a trump is, a little horn. And he makes great boasts, and he uses flatteries, and he controls the nations, as he said himself out of his own lips. I don't just rule America. What did he say? I don't just run America, I run the world. This is what he said. I run the world. Okay? They're looking at him as wanting to, the Israelis look at Trump as the man that will rebuild their third temple. They look at him as a Cyrus. They're looking at him as a Messiah. They gave him literally a menorah that said he was the Prince of Peace, that he's the only one that has ever brought peace to the Middle East. Okay, he made a covenant with many, that book of Daniel, which is called the Abraham Accords. Abraham, father of many nations, right? There's the covenant. Accord is a covenant. Many nations. Abraham, there it is, a covenant with many. He signed it. Okay, and then he also brought about the technologies to set the seat of the desecration in the temple, which is the body. It's not the temple in Israel. The body is the temple. Yeah, and so what are they seating in your temple? They're seating this whole mark of the beast, Elon Musk chip in the brain, self-assembly nanotechnologies through your veins and arteries. It doesn't have to be a surgical implant. It just goes through your veins and arteries, he says, and it self-assembles through your blood and makes you basically a Borg. Your cerebral cortex becomes the interface for the AI of Internet of Bodies, right? The AI now is going to control through high-speed connections, through Skynet and everything that Elon has done. And this whole fake dust-up between Trump and Elon was just to throw off MAGA so they wouldn't be the wiser. Oh, well, Trump hates Elon anyway. Like, oh, look at they don't even like each other now. But he just rolled in singularity. Singularity just happened. The whole thing was put together through Palantir, through the back door of Doge, on all the major government institutions, and all that data was just consumed by these AI alien bots that are now munching on your information and every bit of knowledge about you, your personal data, all of your private emails, everything that you've done on social media, everything that you have been, are, and will be, because it also knows what you're going to do. It's called predictive policing, right? They're going to just minority report you and arrest you. This is why all these destroyed buildings here, because Palantir gave targets for the AI weapons to destroy everything that was connected to Hamas, right? It didn't Netanyahu say every Palestinian is Hamas so they could have justification for leveling everything? Well, Trump was all about two-state solution up until today. They asked him a question, are you about two-state solution? The press secretary said, well, Gaza's uninhabitable right now. It's just not, there's nothing there. Nobody can live there anymore. They're just going to have to go somewhere else, and we're going to have to rebuild our Trump Gaza, Mediterranean Riviera by the Mediterranean, because we want to try to help them and bring them back after we restore everything, right? This is Daniel chapter 11, verses 45, where he sets his kingdom between the Mediterranean and the holy city, right there in Gaza. He sets his tents, his holy royal tents. And this is going to be the Trump Gaza Hotel, Riviera by the Mediterranean. And they're going to parcel it out to all the Middle Eastern countries to input and to build up this. Who knows? It's going to be like casinos and hotels and money flying everywhere. And everybody's watching dancing, bearded women that are dancing, belly dancing. I mean, if you saw the AI video with Trump sitting there drinking pina coladas with Netanyahu on the beach, watching these bearded Muslim belly dancers, which was very strange, and all these golden Trump idols everywhere, and then the big golden Trump idol, and everybody from Gaza just like, oh, this is amazing. They're coming out of a cave into this beautiful, wonderland of a Riviera by the Mediterranean that they're going to be able to live in now. Yeah, while everybody is in their brother in the Middle East, so these oil sheiks are investing in taking over Gaza, and they're going to also build the Ben Gurion Canal through there, which is going to make them billions and billions of dollars, right? So the Ben Gurion Canal is going to go right through Gaza as well. Not to mention all the oil reserves that are off, all the natural gas reserves they want to take over there. Tell me they didn't do this on purpose. This is the same thing about the 15-minute cities or the smart cities or these freedom cities, as Trump was calling them, where they're going to have to clear out cities that are already there. How does that happen? Oh, I don't know, by fires that just all of a sudden just so happen to just happen right there where there's going to be a freedom city proposed. Well, there's a freedom city proposed here. We might as well just rebuild the freedom city now because the fires have completely decimated everything that you thought was your city and your town. You can't rebuild. There's no way to rebuild. A lot of these cities can't even rebuild, even though Trump said just rebuild them, because they need permits and it takes years to do all this. So people are just selling their property, over there down in California where all those fires were. That was a pre-proposed place for a freedom city right there. Just so happened to burn down. Same thing with the thing in Hawaii where that city, the city burned down. Everybody died. What was it? I forgot the name of that city. That was also a proposed freedom city or 15-minute smart city. So there's a whole bunch of cities. So if you're living in one of those proposed freedom cities, I would say be very careful that you don't have some kind of disaster that happens like this so that they can get and set up a new city for you to live in. That's all technologically advanced. It's going to facilitate your well-being, right? You're gonna own nothing and be happy in your little UBI cubicle. And they're going to radiate you with 6G, not just 5G. They're going to radiate you with 6G, and you're going to be assimilated if you survive into the Borg, because most people aren't going to be able to sustain that type of technology in their body anyway. Oil prices are skyrocketing right now. declaring a state of full readiness at all U.S. bases in the Middle East. Israel, let's see. It says, I'm not a naval expert, but right now, U.S. does not have the naval capability to take on Iran in the Middle East. Or am I missing something? Or in the coming days, we may be seeing a deployment coming. Breaking. Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar has also begun evacuations. This guy is saying, I agree, bug out time for people. This is Marfugel's telling everybody he's going to bug out. Let's see. Abbott deploys National Guard to San Antonio, Texas, ahead of Wednesday's night ICE protests. So Governor Abbott in Texas is now preemptively deploying National Guard to cities in Texas. The press secretary said today that Trump is appreciative of Elon Musk's post from earlier today that Elon went too far and apologized to President Trump, just like we told you. If he apologized and walked back this whole thing about Trump being found, because Elon would know he has all the files of Doge, right? Supposedly he saw all the corruption. He saw all the things that were going on behind the scenes because his software was able to ferret out all this corruption. He said that Trump was named in the Epstein files, but now walks it back. Now he's all like, oh, no, we're good now. Nope, we're friends now. Yep, I went a little too far. I'm just here to make Trump look good. That's all I'm here to do. I'm here to put him up on high, make sure that I'm the bad guy. Even though I gave life to the beast, I blew the life and made sentient. I actually brought this is Elon. Elon is the guy that basically gave life to the image. He's the one that brought forth singularity. He's the one that caused us to fall over the event horizon into the deep, dark, black hole that is singularity. So if you don't know what the event horizon is, he said we were going to cross over about a month and a half ago, and then he recently posted that we had crossed over. And this is right about the time when the big dust-up took place with Trump. All to cover for what they just did. They implemented the kill software that basically aggregates every bit of information of every American citizen into this app that is Palantir, or the apps that they develop, right? They make these apps that basically are kill apps. They basically take all this information in real time and they just crunch it all together with AI technology, and then they send these AI weapons to, whether they did it they're doing it in Ukraine with the same company, and they did it in Gaza and also the West Bank. And they also, when they first started out with Osama bin Laden, that's how they found Osama bin Laden, was with this software. Palantir was very deeply involved in all that. So now you got Palantir with J.D. Vance, right-hand man of Trump. He was basically funded and given life by Peter Thiel. And Peter Thiel and all this investment went in, and then Trump picked him because they know that Palantir is going to be the hub software. And then for Alex Jones to try to downplay this, this just shows that Alex Jones is controlled opposition. Alex Jones has basically outed himself by saying that he was unknowingly controlled opposition in the first administration, and that he was really upset about what Trump was doing with the jab and how Elon Musk was dark energy. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, Elon Musk gives Alex Jones back his X account, and then all of a sudden Alex is singing the praises of Elon. Elon comes on and talks to him on X, and all of a sudden Alex Jones starts singing the praises of Trump all of a sudden as well, even though he thought he might be dark energy and possibly connected to the end time Antichrist spirit. Now all of a sudden he's the best president and he's doing the right thing, and that he's going to disavow his desire to out him because he didn't apologize for this terrible technology that he unleashed on the whole world. He never disavowed it. And so Alex said he wasn't going to back him. But all of a sudden, because he was in lawfare and he was about to lose his whole network, he coward. He bowed down. He kissed the ring. He compromised, and now he's all of a sudden on board promoting everything. And he looks great now. He looks good now. He's happy now. He's filled with his old self now because he's got everything back because his network is a mouthpiece, a tool of propaganda now, and he knows it. Oh, he's totally, completely aware of what he's doing. And I'm talking about Alex Jones. Alex Jones knows exactly what he's doing. He is not unwittingly being used as controlled opposition. Now he is knowingly being used as controlled opposition. So we're going to call Alex Jones from now on knowingly. We're going to call him eyes wide open opposition. He knows he's wide open opposition for the controlled opposition. He is the controlled opposition. He is guiding the right into the kill zone, and he's getting paid to do it. Shame on you. Shame on you. He used to be warning people about the dangers of what he was talking about, and now he just disavows it and just is silent. When it's really important that he stand up and make a stand and call this out. He doesn't call it out. He's silent. He actually praises it, and now he's going along with it, and he's deceiving a bunch of people along with those who are following him to go along with this. He says a lot of good things. I'm not dissing Alex Jones on the majority of what he says is right, but that's what controlled opposition is. It's telling you a lot of good things, a lot of right things, but the most important things that are going to wake you up, they don't tell you, and they hide it, and they use that as, well, we can manipulate them on this point. This is the most important point to keep everybody where they're supposed to be. It doesn't matter what they believe, whether right or left, as long as this is called the Hegelian dialectic. And Alex Jones knows about the Hegelian dialectic, and what is he doing? He's going along with it. He's a part of it. He's actually doing what he preaches against, or what he used to preach against. This is why people like Reese, the Reese report doesn't work with Alex Jones anymore. There was a number of people that don't work with him anymore. Why are they not working with him anymore? There's a reason why. All right, so we're going back over here to President Trump is appreciative. Okay, great. Oil prices are skyrocketing right now. So they just went up $1, $2, $3 a barrel. And just wait till this whole thing hits the fan. You know, I would say go out and get your gas. If you have the ability to store a little bit, you might want to store a little bit before prices really go up. I could see prices going up $7, $8, $10 a gallon in some places when this really hits the fan. And we expect it to hit the fan very soon. All right, so then I also want to talk about this really quick here. Whoops. Let's get a little extra commentary on here. Here, I want to add some commentary here, and I'll give you my views on this. Okay. Okay, this is some commentary I'm going to basically play off of here. I'm going to tell you what I think. So it says here, the protests that are spreading right now are not what they seem. Today I'm going to be sharing a perspective that you're absolutely not going to hear anywhere else, probably, yeah, except right here at Blazing Press, because a lot of this we talked about. These protests are spreading to Atlanta. Hold on one second. Karen Bass said, Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles said things won't be peaceful in Los Angeles until the Trump administration stops enforcing immigration law and removing violent criminals from the streets. What? Suggests things won't be peaceful. Okay, so this is just the way they said it. Why are radical left lunatics so obsessed with defending criminal? Okay, so this is a post from the right here, but she says that Trump administration is not going to find any peace until they stop interfering with the government of California and their administration of dealing with this in their own state. They said when federal involvement is going to only exacerbate this. It's not going to be just California, though. This is all over the country. This is, I don't know what this is. To me, is more of a distraction. But anyway, let's get back to that. So it says here that Chicago. Okay, so you're not going to hear this anywhere else. Protests are spreading to Atlanta, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles like clockwork, as if on cue, as if being fomented by some centralizing force. Obviously, that narrative is going to be heavily politicized, but I got some perspective that you absolutely are not going to get anywhere else. I guarantee you right now. They're talking about deploying the National Guard to these other states that are starting to show some signs of civil unrest. Still relatively small in scope compared to what we were used to in 2020 and before that. Remember how much chaos was going on? Did they deploy National Guard? I mean, not like they are now. And there really hasn't been a whole lot of craziness like back then. I mean, they were burning down buildings back then. And Trump was just like, it's a radical leftist, mostly peaceful protests. This is what they're doing. I can't do anything. Got my hands tied. Everybody's against me. I can't do anything. Like that was what he was doing. He wasn't doing anything. But now he's basically bringing out the military. He's turned all of a sudden becoming a strong man. Before he was a sacrificial lamb. Now he's a strong man. So here we go. It says it wasn't even close to the 2020, even years gone by. These seem fairly smaller scale disturbances that should not elicit the deployment of the National Guard. But we're going to get to why the government is overreaching in the way that they are, and in some cases even leapfrogging the National Guard in violation of posse comitatus or accumulata, putting actual Marines on the streets while why they would be going to such an extent. Okay, so there's two things to consider here. One is timing. Look at the timing. This is what I keep saying too. Look at timing. This is what was about to happen in Ukraine and Russia, on the brink of exploding. The Iran war on the brink of starting. All of a sudden, this issue has been festering for months and months. That has been an ongoing issue. There have been arrests. There have been some notable cases. In fact, that should have compelled people onto the streets. But the question is now, well, there's four primary reasons. One in which I expounded upon in yesterday's video or today's video, depending on when you watch this. It was that they're using civil unrest as a pretense to build out and establish an administrative foothold that will be used to form the basis of a civil defense infrastructure and preparation for World War III, that they want to get military on the streets, because when this hits the fan, they're not going to be able to coordinate that after the lights go out. So you will have to do this first. This makes a lot of sense. And what he's saying is basically that they're using this military parade and coordinating with all of these. Well, they're basically planning in coordination with all of these protests that just seem to have popped out of nowhere to bring about martial law, so that there can be some infrastructure that's been laid out by military and or federalized troops in every major city before war breaks out in the world, in the Middle East, with Russia, possibly even China. This is why Trump's being really nice to China right now, because I think that we're really sensing that America is being pigeonholed and we're being choked out. Like we're literally on the ropes. America is on the ropes. Even though Trump makes all these great boasts about how they probably just think it's hilarious. They probably love to watch Trump wiggle and twist and boast and flatter. They probably see right through it. I'm talking about Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin and all of these world leaders. They probably think, oh, he's such a he likes to praise us too. Isn't that amazing? Even though we see right through what he's trying to do. But let's just let him keep doing what he's doing. We'll just keep sitting back and watching as everything falls apart in America, and they're facilitating. I'm sure they're facilitating it in the shadows. They're facilitating this as well. But so they're looking at what's happening, and Trump is trying to prepare, I guess, the population for this chaos that's about to descend upon this nation. And as it coordinates its timing with Middle East blow-ups, because we told you that's what's coming, and then we also gave you some commentary on this the other day, what he's talking about here, that this was in preparation for World War III. And what did Steve Bannon say yesterday? Steve Bannon, he's a very integral part of getting Trump elected in 2016, and he's a very high-level player in the Republican, especially MAGA movement. What did Steve Bannon say? He said that this is kinetic World War III on U.S. soil. What we're watching happen right now is kinetic conflict that is ushering in World War III on U.S. soil. That's what he said. This is Steve Bannon. Okay, Steve Bannon said that yesterday. So here we got infrastructure in preparation for World War III. They want to get military on the streets because when this hits the fan, they're not going to be able to coordinate all of that after the lights go out, because that's what's going to happen. Your lights are going to go out. Your internet's going to go out. You're not going to know what happened. You're not going to know how, unless you have shortwave radio, unless you have communications, possibly alternative like satellite. You're not going to have any connections to anybody to know what's really happening. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. So and I'm talking about when the big wars start in the Middle East and possibly here at home, because they're going to do it here. And I don't say possibly. I think that that's a likelihood that we're going to see this kinetic conflict happening on our soil, just like Steve Bannon said yesterday. Okay, so you have to do this first, get the troops out, and first look if you do before. And they don't want you to know all this because they don't want you to be ready. They want this to shock and awe you. They want you to be so completely terrified that you're going to just listen to anything that they tell you. This is a public service announcement from the President of the United States, and he suggests that you do this. So you better listen, because it's a scary world out there, and we have just basically, the enemy has attacked us out of the blue for no reason whatsoever. We're going to World War III, America, because Pearl Harbor just happened, and we don't know why they attacked us, but they just all of a sudden sneak attacked us because we didn't even know it was coming. Yeah, we did. We knew it was coming. We knew it was coming because we basically encircled them and embargoed them. So the same thing is happening today. We know it's coming. They know it's about to hit, but they don't want you to know until it shocks and awes you, until it's called trauma-based compliance. Trauma-based compliance and Stockholm Syndrome. That's exactly what this is. We're getting some reports here. Let's see. My goodness, what in the hell? So Dhafar Air Base in UAE has begun evacuation of all non-essential staff members. U.S. official, the safety and security of our service members and their families remains our highest priority, and the U.S. Central Command is monitoring the developing tensions in the Middle East. They're declaring a full state of readiness at all U.S. bases in the Middle East. Um, someone says here, I'm not a naval expert, but right now the U.S. does not have. Okay, I read you that one. Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar has also begun evacuations. U.S. military authorizes voluntary departure of troops dependents across the Middle East, official says. Has this ever happened before? Has this ever happened before? No unusual movement has been noted so far of all U.S. operations in the air as per routine flights. What I'm being told is non-essential staff across the Middle East have begun moving out for about a week before from today. The announcement has just been made public. So they've been doing this for about a week now, and this is just now being released to the public. Okay, so I wouldn't be surprised if Iran is funding these protests in the U.S. INA News says Iraq has not recorded any security indications that would require evacuation. Just in, evacuation orders underway due to hazardous nitric acid leak in Vinton County, Ohio. So this looks very, very dangerous here. I'm seeing pictures now of a big, huge orange cloud, and evacuations are underway for hazardous nitric acid leak. I wonder if this is some kind of a sabotage or something. Meanwhile, on Polymarket, chances of an Israeli strike on Iran have shot up 44%. So you can see the graph just go straight up. So this is like the betting site where they basically give percentages on what they think is going to happen, and they're saying now 44% chance that Israel strikes Iran. Well, that's because everything's out there now. Heightened U.S. military activity reported over the Anbar province in Iraq. Let me see this. I'm looking at a video here. Okay. And then oil prices skyrocketing. Iran continues to it says here, Iran's mission to the UN in New York, Iran_UN, threats of quote, overwhelming force won't change facts. Iran is not seeking a nuclear weapon, and U.S. militarism only fuels instability. CENTCOM's legacy of fueling regional instability through arming aggressors and enabling Israeli crimes strips it of any credibility to speak on peace or non-proliferation. Diplomacy, not militarism, is the only path forward. This is what Iran just posted. Now, they're posting this, obviously, because they are very worried about a military operation, I'm sure, especially if it's a coordinated military operation with Israel and large bunker buster type bombs or tactical nukes. I mean, the bow of Elam in the book, in the Bible, talks about it being broken. Many scholars believe that Iran is going to completely be destroyed in the last day scenario. The bow of Elam is the region of Iran. But Daniel talks about the Prince of Persia in the last days as well. So this is all where the beginning of the end begins. The beginning of the end starts with these prophecies of the Prince of Persia and in Israel and Persia having a dust up. So this is where we're at right now. And it's prophetic. It's right there in the book of Daniel. The U.S. is partially evacuate Iraq embassy over regional security sources. This is Reuters. There, let me just put this up so you can see this. This is Reuters here. And this is heavy GPS Spoofing spotted over Iraq-Iran border and eastern Iraq. Spoofing? What does that mean? I have a strong feeling that Iran has already managed to make a crude N-bomb. What do you think about that? Do you think that they might have one? And if they deliver it via a hypersonic, because they do have hypersonics, I believe, they could attach it to a hypersonic weapon. Is that possible? What do you think? U.S. missions in Baghdad and Erbil are evacuating most diplomats in response to unspecified security threats, according to one former and two current U.S. officials. This is per Politico. Low-flying jets over eastern Iraq. Those may, in fact, be Israeli, because Israeli jets were being scrambled when Amir was on. He was on just about about an hour ago, and he said he could hear the jets flying, Israeli jets. They were all taken off. Drones are also reported in eastern Iraq. Significant developments in the Middle East as the United States prepares for partial evacuations of U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. The State Department has also authorized non-essential personnel and dependents to voluntarily leave Kuwait as well and Bahrain. So now we got Kuwait. And they're showing helicopters taking people out. Let's see, we got some more here. Arab report. Iran raises the alert level of its defense systems. Iraqi sources are reporting that Iran is currently jamming GPS systems in Iraqi territory. So Iran is now jamming systems there because of the flights probably of Israelis and or U.S. Air Force. That's the only thing I can think, because a lot of Iraq is a part, has turned to Shiite Muslim controls. Iraq has kind of been infiltrated by a lot of controlling factors from Iran. So they're kind of friendly toward Iran now. Iran is let's see here. Let me just post this here. All right, update. Seattle Police Department announces they will not cooperate with ICE amid the LA riots. Oh, boy. And this has a lot to do with what they expect as civil unrest and civil war with states rebelling against the federal government. So you've got California, you've got Washington now, parts of Washington now not going along with Trump administration, federal government. We literally are having civil conflict going on right now. You know, legal conflicts with the federal government and state governments. This is a prelude to something much bigger. Oh, man. All right, so let me look at some of your guys' comments here. Let me take some of your comments here, and I'm going to go back over some of this commentary and get into a little deeper on what's going on with this whole protest movement / riot movement that is being planned, because I think that's really what they're looking for, is complete and utter chaos. We are in the tribulation, my friends. And if you don't think that we are, and I don't have a problem with the the rapture doctrine, I just don't think it happens pre-trib. I don't think that, and then a lot of pre-tribbers will say, well, we're not, the Lord does not abuse his church. There's no wrath that's going to come upon those who are his people. So the Colosseums, was that the wrath of God when they were being fed to the lions, when they were being dipped in hot oil, when they were having their heads chopped off? Was that the wrath of God on the people of the Lord? No, it wasn't. God protected them even in the moment of their death. So it doesn't matter if you're in the midst of wars and or sword or famine or prison. If God is with you, then it's not wrath. But to the guy next to you, if he's not with the Lord, then it's wrath for him. Okay, so don't think about external things. This is what the sleepy virgin church and their beliefs about the end times are. They don't want any external, things to bother their worldly mindset. Okay, so it says Israeli officials say that the IDF has been on extremely high alert in recent days for possible escalation with Iran. This is according to Axios. Now, this is all coming out right now because something is going on right now. They say in the last few days, but it's happening right now. What we're telling you is that things are hitting the fan right now. But they're saying, oh, it's been going on for a few days or a week. Breaking, U.S. President Trump has convened a security meeting with top military officials in the White House. Just now. I'm telling you, these sources are legit. These sources are right on target. This just now, U.S. President convenes with a security meeting with top military officials. Let's see if I can find that. Where this is coming from. Okay, 12:35 p.m. That was a half an hour ago. Israel News Pulse. President Trump has convened a security meeting with top military officials in the White House. All U.S. bases in the Middle East have been placed on a full state of alert. This was just about not even a half an hour ago. Not even a half an hour ago. You see that? It's got 65,000 followers. All right, so let's get into some of that commentary. So it says, infantry, they're in preparation for World War III. They want to get military on the streets because that, when it hits the fan, they're not going to be able to coordinate all of that after the lights go out. So you don't have to, so you have to do things first. It says, if you knew before, you laughed me out of the room. If you knew that the big day was coming, that we're in the pentamate phase of this whole experiment, and I'm not sure what he means by that. What word is that? What does that mean? The next to last. Okay, so he's saying we're in the next to last phase of this whole experiment, and the big clash of global superpowers was right on the horizon. If you thought that this was happening, you would understand that you would need some sort of militant administrative framework in order to establish some measure of continuity of government. After the inevitable happened, you would need to have a way to lock people down. Okay, so when the shizzy hits the fizzy, then this is not the Cold War. There is not a bunker on every street. And so, yeah, so we're not set up like we used to be, right? We don't have bunkers everywhere now. We're not in that Cold War mindset. So they have to have some kind of infrastructure. We're way removed from any type of worry that there could be a global war that would affect our homeland, right? On the homeland. So they're saying that they would want to preempt this by not freaking everybody out in the population, but somehow moving in military influences into the major cities under the cover of unrest that was somehow inspired or facilitated, as many people are saying the Trump administration is doing, that they're actually exacerbating the situation when it doesn't really need military troops for dealing with this. Now, there could be certain actors out there that are being, given a stage or a platform or media attention that are making this seem much bigger than it really is, or actually, overly giving attention to this situation because of what happened in 2020 when everything was on fire and it was just mostly peaceful, right? These were just mostly peaceful protests. And, transgender is, you got all of these crazy extreme things that have happened, and the public has just been like traumatized. And now we're swinging back to the other end where everything needs to be dealt with quickly because we've got our man in the house. Let's just crack down and clamp down on every little detail that we couldn't believe society came from and swung all the way to the left. Now it's swinging all the way to the right. So you got the left-right paradigm thing happening now. Everything's swinging back, right? And it doesn't matter now. Let's just clamp everything down. Let's just over-legalize everything and give power to our president to do what needs to be done to right the wrongs of the past. We don't care. He's our guy. We don't care how much of a possible criminal or corruption or whatever legal issues or whatever he's done in his past. We just want him to fix it because he's an outsider, even though he's a billionaire, even though he made like $30 billion in like 24 hours off of stupid people that invested in his coin, which definitely shows his character. We still love him. It doesn't matter that he rolled out these kill shots because he knew that we wouldn't take them. It was only for Democrats. They're the stupid ones that'll take it, right? It just doesn't make sense. You guys' logic out there, people that are promoting this, I don't get your logic. Okay, it's character. The character matters. Okay, I would much rather have some stupid brainless guy in office that's not facilitating and fast tracking and warp speeding the destruction and the takeover and the militarization and the anal probe of every aspect of our lives than have some smart dude doing it, like some sly wily coyote guy in there doing it. I'd rather have some dumb guy. Now the dumb guy was put there by the guys that are doing it now. Okay, the dumb guy was put there on purpose so that this could all happen, what we see going on now, to facilitate what's happening. So that's why I'm telling you, I see this in a totally different way. There's an overarching structure that orchestrates both sides, and they play both sides off of each other for their own ultimate goal and end. This is what they call the Hegelian dialectic. And if you don't understand the way that works, well, you got to do some research and really sit back and think about the big picture and how this could actually be playing out. Anyway, so this says, he goes on to say, this phase of the experiment and the big clash of global superpowers was right on the horizon. You would understand that you would need some sort of militant administrative framework in order to establish some measure of continuity of government. After the inevitable happened, you would need a way to lock people down. Okay, so when when they hit the fan, this is when it hits the head. This is not the Cold War. There isn't a bunker on every street. There is not a hard and fast set of rules and protocols to follow. Am I looking at the right one? Yeah, this is the right one. And he goes on to say, down even unto the municipal level in terms of how to administrate aid and disaster mitigation, and there was during the Cold War. So you need boots on the ground in order to facilitate that. So number one, planting the seeds for a new civil defense infrastructure that will be leveraged in times of war. Number two is just general war mobilization. Is it all coincidental that this is all coinciding with the Trump's big grand military parade? Of course, there's rumors swirling that maybe it's not a military parade after all. No, I think it's a military parade because this is what happens when empires fall. It's that whole Sun Tzu thing with the art of war. You have to appear strong when you're weak and weak when you're strong. That's why weak countries have military parades to make it appear as though they're stronger than they are. Anyways, and that's true. That's why I say we're weaker and we're more in danger now because of what Trump is doing. And these military parades are a way of kind of showcasing our weakness. Remember, I told you guys the guy that's the loudest, that yells and screams and cusses and says he's going to do what he's going to do to you. He's usually the guy that gets his butt kicked, and he's the one that falls on his backside. Because it's the quiet guys you got to watch out for. Remember? It's the guys that don't say anything, that know what that cold cock you, or that do something to you before you even realize what's coming. Right? It doesn't matter how boisterous and how boastful. Those are usually the ones that have the fall. Right? Pride comes before a fall, and a haughty spirit before destruction. Pride comes before a fall, and a haughty spirit before destruction. So anytime you have this great swelling pride, you better be very, very aware that it could be the death knell that's going to be, dinging right before you go into your wood box. So as though they're stronger than it, and always actually predicted that back in 2016, but I digress. The third reason, in addition to civil defense infrastructure build out as being the primary reason for these protests, and people are going to say, no, it's all about immigration. Look, immigration is a problem, and I'm not disputing that, but there is a way that that could be. I'm not disputing that, but there is a way that they could prosecute the deportation of these individuals in a more surreptitious manner, and do it as expedite a manner as is necessary in order to get the job done before the next election. And again, I don't agree to all the deportations. In fact, I'm trying to be Switzerland on this, because on this particular issue. Yeah, Switzerland's always a neutral country. For the sake of presenting this hypothesis to you today, so please don't try to derail me into one side of the political argument. I'm trying to do the meta-analysis here, okay? Look, this divide that we are currently seeing right now is a potential attack vector for our adversaries. So if you're the Trump administration, you would not be engaging in the type of government overreach unless there was a really good reason. You would not be leapfrogging the National Guard in defiance of the states who don't want the National Guard. They don't want the military to be taking over in the streets, which I'm pretty sure is codified into law, into that posse comitatus thing. They don't want that. They don't want that they want to be, they don't want these protests, despite all the media sensation. Sensationalism are relatively small. These protests are relatively small and should be protests that could be managed by riot police. You might have to call in some from somewhere else around the state, other states, or the country, but you should be able to muster the forces needed using your own police force to bring these protests under control. And the fact that government is overreaching in a way that they are creating an attack vector for our adversaries. What do I mean by that? I mean that the United States is a glass house. It's one of those greatest strengths and its greatest weaknesses being a free society that doesn't have the luxury of a great Chinese firewall that keeps all of our apps and all of our influence out of the culture while they can see into ours. We're literally a glass house. You're going to have legions of troll farms. That's interesting. And legions of bloggers, legions of bots, GPTs, LLMs descending on this chaos and trying to ferment more and more chaos. You're going to have bots telling people to go and protest here because, and this is exactly what they've seen in all American protests. We've seen this in 2020 where you had foreign influence trying to literally telling people where to go and who was orchestrating those protests. You didn't even live in the country. They were being orchestrated from outside the country. Okay, so this is going to start to happen so that you won't open yourself up to such an attack vector by doing or by engaging in this government overreach unless there was really a damn good reason. And the damn good reason is World War III, because they know that the crap's about to hit the fan and they need to establish this administrative framework, even if only a foothold took 700 Marines, 2,000 troops are not going to be able to do a damn thing to however many people are in LA, 10 million people. It's not going to do a damn thing. But what they will do is create an outpost that can be expanded upon. And it's very likely that it's going to be a permanent installation. Okay, now's the third reason why this government overreach is beneficial is population suppression. You have a lot of people right now, despite the fact that a lot of this is just a bunch of opportunists who are out there looting shoes, and aren't a lot of people who are under financial duress right now. Okay, there's economic immersion, there's vocational dislocation due to AI that is coming up. And so if you know that there is going to be this financial shock, dare I say an economic reset right around the corner, that this is another reason to have protective measures in place. That's true too, because I am telling you, this whole economic shock thing is going to be huge. Okay, something's going on here. Let me look and see what's going on here really quick. So it says here, Trump is growing much less confident a deal being made with Iran, something happened to them. So he always says that something's happened to them. They've just gone off the rails. They're crazy. There's something wrong with these people. They don't want to deal with me. There's something wrong with them. They're absolutely out of their mind now because they think that I'm trying to push something they don't want. So now he says Iran is there's something wrong with them. Okay, breaking. The head of U.S. Command Central, Gerald Kurilla, has postponed testimony to lawmakers set for Thursday because of tensions in the Middle East. I wonder why he was set to give testimony. What was that all about? Heavy security deployment, eastern Baghdad. This is coming from Tammuz Intel, 34,000 followers. Heavy security deployment, eastern Baghdad. That was just posted. about 15 minutes ago. President Trump signs executive order. He signs an executive order to create flying cars pilot program and accelerate domestic drone production. Drones. U.S. President Trump has convened a security meeting with top military officials in the White House. Okay, we told you that, but that's happening right now. Okay, postponed. Open close to receive testimony on the posture of the United States Central Command and review of the defense authorization request for fiscal year 2026 and the future years defense program. This is dated tomorrow, June 12th at 9:30 a.m. It's been postponed. Ooh, maybe there's something about to go down. Why would they postpone it? Do they know something that's about to happen? This is a full committee hearing. This is a full committee hearing. Look. Uh-oh. Not good. That means that they know something's about to happen, because you just don't postpone, meetings like that. Where is this at? Room SD. Okay. So they're postponing meetings. They're postponing meetings for tomorrow and the next day because they know it's about to hit the fan. They're planning to attack Iran, and I'll bet you it happens in the next 24 hours. The fizzy is about to hit the shizzy. The fizzy is about to hit the shizzy. Hey, what do you guys think? So we got some intel from some people that we know that are connected with Homeland Security, and they said that they were sent back to D.C. last weekend. And usually when something's going on or about to happen, they send his unit or whatever to back to D.C. Like that's their job, right? So there's something that's about to happen, they're saying. Because when that happens, when they're sent back to D.C., there's usually something that happens. I don't know if they're protection detail or something to do with Homeland Security. So something's going on, guys. Just so you know, you should be aware that things are about to hit the fan. And we knew it was coming because all of these protests had a flair of something else. This wasn't just organic. This was kind of like plausible deniability. This is like fake fight between Elon and Trump. It wasn't real. It was for the consumption and the theater of kabuki. Get your mind over here while all this other chaos is about to break out. We don't want anybody freaking out yet. We don't want anybody to this is the narrative. They want to control the narrative, and they don't want people to. You know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because it only takes one person that sees what's going on and for this information to flow out and it spreads. Bam, everybody knows. The internet is the way it is. If a few people see something, it goes out on social media and everybody shares it instantly. It'll turn into major news instantly within minutes. And so they have to control that narrative, and they're using AI to do it too. They're using AI to do it.
With artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
It is artificial intelligence, I think, that is wargaming right now, and it's probably giving them all the information on what they need to do to control the narrative. So they're controlling the narrative in many different ways via online analysts that are they're super intelligence. What do they call it? The artificial intelligence that's quantum, working at quantum speeds and able to just in real time put out this information on what they need to do in order to counter what's happening online. They're doing it in real time. Listen.
With artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, he's sure he can control the demon. Didn't work out.
I take it there will be no HAL 9000 going up to Mars.
HAL 9000 would be easy. It's way more complex than, it would put HAL 9000 to shame. Yeah. I was like a puppy dog.
Sorry about that. National Guard members already have temporarily detained civilians in the Los Angeles protests, commanders say. This is according to AP. Okay, so we're going to cut the feed here, and we're going to go back and start streaming. I think I'm going to be still chatting with you guys in the midst of the streams as we begin to watch what's happening and kind of monitor the unrest and the protests and whatever else happens on the streets of America, because it is happening in many different locations. We'll try to aggregate the feeds in one place here. I'll have 4 or 5 different feeds going at the same time, and we'll be watching and monitoring, and hope that you join us for these live feeds. Make sure you share our content, become a member. You get a special perk when you become a member, giveaways, etc. We're going to be doing a giveaway here real soon, another giveaway. So get on board with our members, and they're good giveaways too. So you're not, you're getting a couple $100 worth of stuff. So get on board, and I'm going to be giving something away here probably maybe tonight. Who knows? I'll spin that wheel for all the members. But it's also a way to support our channel. We do appreciate all you guys out there that do support what we do. We're looking for more supporters right now and trying to grow the channel. So get the message out, share it everywhere you can, and be there tonight or just in the next little bit here, because I think I'm just going to go live and start looking at what's happening. But in the meantime, guys, keep your head on a swivel, keep your head looking up, and don't lose the faith. Keep your faith strong. There is a key statement before I go. Daniel chapter 7, verse 25, regarding the coming of the Antichrist. He shall intend to change the times and the law. The law. He just said the other day that the law is whatever he thinks it should be. If you didn't really listen to his statement, he basically said he dictates what the law is. It's not what the law is, it's what he dictates and says it is for the moment that it's needed, right? And some would justify and rationalize it, but really, when you're changing the law to fit your agenda, you are literally changing the law according to Daniel 7:25, the times and the seasons and the law. So don't be deceived in these times of great consequence, because there's so much happening right now that it's overwhelming, and it's very easy to kind of go along with the narrative and just start waving the flag when everything bad starts happening. And it's, we're great, we're awesome, we're the best country in the world, and we're going to enforce our will upon everybody. No, this is not going to continue. And I'm just telling you, there's going to be a backlash, and I have a feeling that this is what we're seeing happening now with all of these states going into chaos. So let's pray and unite here online together, and really look to the Lord, because the Lord is the only one that's really gonna save those who call upon Him. If you don't call upon Him, you're not gonna be saved. And I say that in a natural sense, but mostly in a spiritual thing, in a spiritual, eternal sense. Physically speaking, the world is going to get worse and worse. And I think that we will see a tribulation on a scale that we've never seen in the history of our world. This is what the scripture says would happen in the last days. So make sure that you're prepared and armed with knowledge and with an understanding of who and what God's will is, who God is and what His will is for your life. The scriptures are very clear. Do not be foolish or ignorant, but understand what the will of the Lord is. And how do you know what the will of God is? You read your scriptures, you pray, you ask God to show you. It doesn't come by just osmosis. It doesn't come by just head knowledge of even the Bible. It comes from an awareness that is given, that is it's like it is predestined. It is something that God facilitates as your heart is in the right mindset and your heart is rightly related to Him. Then He begins to open up those, it says that all the treasures of wisdom and of knowledge are hidden in Christ. He begins to unveil that hidden knowledge. You want to talk about occult knowledge. The occult that's what occult means. It's hidden. But the treasures of hidden wisdom and knowledge are unveiled in Christ. So it's not anything nefarious. It is truly the true light of heaven. It's not an angel of light. It's not a deception of the age. It's not a lying sign and wonder the Bible says would come. It is the true wisdom that is from above. And if you get a hold of that, you'll have peace. You'll have a salvation, a true, eternal security that you will possess in the time and space that we're living. You will have eternal security. And that's what gives you peace. No matter what happens, hell or high water, nuclear war, or the fall of a nation, or the collapsing global economy, you're still going to have a peace that passes all understanding. God will be with you. Amen. In Jesus' name. Thank you much, guys. And I'll see you back here when we start streaming once again, right here on Blazing Press BP News. God bless.